Sometimes even I, as a Protestant, can understand why people decide against believing in one God or decide against joining a religion. If someone was to tell me that dinosaur bones come from the devil sent on earth just to dissuade us from believing in the history of creation that stands in the Bible, I'd also not believe them. I would not join that religion. So today we are going to ask some atheists why they decided against believing in a God, why they decided against joining a religion, and we'll ask religious people what they think about those atheists.
I believe that if someone believes in something, that it exists, but if I don't believe in God, then for me he just doesn't exist, and that's how I feel it.
I can't imagine that there is something higher, and because it's not proved, and I believe in proofs and nature and science. That's why I can't really imagine that there is something else.
And I don't find myself like fitting into some religious community, so that's why I'm atheist.
Actually, I am not an atheist, I'm an agnostician. I don't know if there is a God. I can't prove it, but I can't prove that there is no God. And sometimes I call myself an atheist when I'm very angry against religion. That has to do with my past and my boyhood and my early youth. I was very, very Christian, very Catholic. I was fascinated by Jesus and by his ethical message. And then suddenly, or like during 1 or 2 years, I lost my belief. And first I became angry that there was no God in this world full of tears and sufferings. And the second reason to become an aggressive atheist at that age was that I got to know more and more about history, and I saw the big crimes of especially my church, my Catholic Church. That were the two reasons. I lost my belief, and I saw the history, the bad history of religion. I believe in that is very important, the most important thing in the world, to fight for justice and to fight for the suppressed and the suffering people. But I don't see any help from above. There is no God. I fear, sometimes I even hope there is a God, but I can't believe it.
At the beginning you were a Jew, but then you became atheist.
I am remaining a Jew, of course. I can't be anything else, but I don't believe in God, and therefore I'm an atheist. It has nothing to do, because you have to be somebody. An atheist is not a nation, or is not a nationality. So I am an atheist because I don't believe in God. Because I think if there would be a God, it couldn't be such terrible things in the world as there were all the centuries. And I got through a concentration camp where many innocent people died. And therefore I don't believe in God. I believe in good deeds. I would never like to do anything wrong, but I don't need a higher power for it.
So, Gott hat uns den freien Willen gegeben.
God has given us free will.
Uns für ihn oder uns gegen ihn zu entscheiden.
To make a decision for him or against him.
Auch nicht an Gott zu glauben, also atheistisch zu sein, bedeutet eigentlich auch gottesbewusst zu sein.
to believe in God is also a kind of belief in God.
Bloß, dass sich Menschen dafür entschieden haben, nicht an Gott zu glauben.
It's just people have decided not to believe in God.
Diese Segnung kommt auch von Gott.
This ability of this decision is also given by God.
Also unabhängig vom Gottesbewusstsein zu leben.
To live independent from God consciousness.
Das ist die Barmherzigkeit der höchsten Persönlichkeit Gottes für Menschen, die nicht an Gott glauben wollen.
That is the mercy by God to people who don't want to believe in God. Okay, how I feel about atheistic people. I think that one should respect that some people decide to not believe in God, because belief or love can only be created when there is free will, when there is freedom. I cannot force anybody to love me. And I think I'm convinced that God is not a person who wants to force us to believe in Him or to love Him, because as soon there is force, there is no love.
Really, I don't think a lot of time about them, but I think that it must be really sad not to believe that there is a God behind the world who, and even in the world, who helps us. And without God, every difficult situation in our life may look really pointless, and if you look at life, you can see that there is much more pain than justice, and if you don't believe that love comes from God, I think that your life may be really very sad. So I really have compassion with some people who don't believe in loving God.
Atheists are fulfilling, in the first sense, the half of the testimony of Islam, that they are rejecting all gods. And the testimony of Islam is that I reject all gods besides only one. So they are pretty much closer than the most of the religions to Islam, from my Islamic view. And the thing is, in my opinion, which refers to atheism, is that belief is something which embraces where in the first place, and this is in the heart of oneself. Therefore, you have to leave that person by himself. Either he reflects and comes to that conclusion that there is a higher might, or he doesn't. And it is up to him. Therefore, I have a neutral position towards atheism or atheistic people. And if they should believe in a higher might, no. But what I would, how is it called, recommend to everyone is at least to go through the philosophical question, is there a higher might or not, which concerns so many people throughout the history. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I would just recommend to go intellectual, to think about and not just ignore.
Why?
Okay. Start again. I always look behind here, I shouldn't do that.